So the third item on our 4-item agenda today is called framework versus strategy and tactics. So just some words that I'm using here, but you're going to hear me use these words more, and I want to make sure you understand what they mean. When I say framework, you've probably heard people say, this is like a 60,000 foot view, or this is the up in the sky view looking down at your business. It's the big picture view. Well, that's kind of what a framework is. A framework is a big picture view. The next one is called strategy. And strategy is where you kind of dive down one more level. And then tactics is, I say, getting into the weeds. That's where you're really getting into the day-to-day, this is what we do. And the way I could illustrate this is I did recently post in the community a message called The Power of Simplicity. So let's go to the Rare Agent community. Hey, I think we know how to find it. Simplicity, simplicity. And boom, there it is. The Power of Simplicity. So I posted this message a few days ago. The purpose of this was to say that I have seen a lot of real estate businesses over my couple of decades of being in the business. I've seen some that are really complex. They have a lot of steps. They have a lot of funnels. They have a lot of lead generation pipelines. They have call centers. They have direct mail. They have texting applications. All different kinds of things that are going on, and they're effective. They're working. I'm not knocking them in any way. What I am saying is I kind of like simplicity myself. And my business, the business that I've run for 2 decades, is actually very simple. It's so simple that I can put it on a napkin. That's what this post was about, that I can take my business plan and in 4 points, and those number 1, 2, 3, 4 points are the, click over here, are the framework, right? The 4 points are the framework. So let's go back and look at those again. So here's how a framework works in my business. 4 points. Number 1, generate leads. Number 2, convert leads. Number 3, provide an unmatched client experience. Number 4, follow up forever. Those 4 things, generate leads, convert leads, provide an unmatched client experience, and follow up forever. Those are the 4 things that literally everything I do rolls up under those 4 things. Everything that I do. Generating leads, that's the first thing we have to do, right? We have to make our phone rings. We have to identify opportunities. And so I have some sub-points underneath generate leads. Those sub-points are the strategies, all right? And then the tactics would be taking these sub-points and drilling down even further. So backing it up here, generating leads is the framework. These 3 sub-points are the strategies. And then the way I would do these are the tactics. Those are the, let's get down into the weeds, step by step. What do I need to do, boom, today to make that happen? So whenever I talk about framework, and I talk about framework a lot, you're going to see messages, and you're going to see messages in the community where I talk about framework. What I'm doing is taking a real big picture view. And the reason that's important is there's a lot of ways to build this real estate business that we're all in. We all do this business with the same goal, but we take different paths to get there. We all started in the same place when we got our real estate licenses, but a year later, we had all gone different directions. Some of us were doing really well. Some of us were struggling. So we had taken different paths. But I'm going to talk about these big picture frameworks as these are the things you have to do. And whatever direction you go and whatever path you've taken, if you're going to be successful in this business, it's going to roll up in these 4 topics of a framework. You're going to have to learn how to generate leads. You're going to have to learn how to convert those leads. You're going to need to provide an unmatched client experience. which is a 5-star concierge experience. If you expect that client to come back to you and use you again or refer you, and then you're going to need to follow up with them. Now, if you don't do this, if you don't follow up, there's a chance that those folks will come back to you. They may remember you. Most likely they won't. And you'll be looking for another transaction, a few years from now, when this one would likely come back to you if you would have stayed in touch, right? So these 4 points, these 4 framework points are, to me, just absolutely critical when I talk about building a long-term business. And that's what the power of simplicity is. And when you start thinking about what can I do in my business, to move things forward, well, let's start by looking at the framework and let's say, where are we having challenges? Are we having challenges generating leads? If your phone is ringing, but you're not cashing commission checks, well, then your problem isn't generating leads. Your problem is more likely converting leads. And so we need to look at the next level of detail. Are we focused on setting appointments? Are we meeting potential buyers in a potential home? Are we meeting potential sellers at their home, right? Are you knowledgeable about the business? Are you likable? These are all things that fall under converting leads, because if you fail in these areas, then you're not converting leads. And even though you're generating leads, if you're not converting them, you never make it to the end. You never make it to the bank to cash a check. So again, just to reiterate, without get too long on this, the framework is the 60,000 foot view. The strategy is big picture, how we're looking at taking on all of the categories that will execute that framework. And then the tactics are the day-to-day tasks. This is what I need to do right now, and how do I get better at that?